What's the thing, like the attribute that leaders need to succeed? When I ask servant leaders, I most often hear it's their character. They need to be a good person. And still others say, no, it's about how you treat people. They need to be good at relationships. And still there are others that say, no, no, it's about skills. You need to have the skills to get the job done. So which is it? Join me today as we outline the essential attributes you need to succeed as a leader. Welcome to the Leadwell podcast, where we help you redefine your servant leadership to amplify your integrity, influence, and impact as a leader so that you can lead well. We are in a special servant leadership series here on the Leadwell podcast because my new book, Redefine Your Servant Leadership, comes out in January. If you are a leader who struggles with serving but not quite leading, or with bringing together, how do we lead people but also focus on performance and grow the business, this book is for you. And you don't have to wait all the way till January to get started. You can go right now to redefineyourservantleadership.com and get an excerpt of the book and get started before everybody else can buy the book in January. All right, so we said, what's the thing, like the attribute that leaders need to succeed? Well, it isn't just one. There are three. The three essential leadership attributes are character, relationships, and skills. These three things together amplify your integrity. They allow you to grow your influence and to deliver impactful results. And if we're lacking in one of these three, or more than one of these three, we start to get disconnected. We might burn people out. You know, it's actually kind of like you're driving a car with a flat tire. Just imagine that. One of your tires is flat. What happens? Well, you always get pulled in one direction. You're slowed down, and you really got to slow down to make sure that this car and the tire don't blow out completely. And yeah, you always run the risk of having a blowout, or frankly, when it goes, it just blows out and the whole car goes off the road. And it can be that same thing with leaders that only rely on or only have one of these areas. If it's just character, oftentimes we get disconnected from the people, and sometimes we don't have what it takes to be able to deliver on what we say is the good and right thing to do. And if it's just relationships and we lean all the way in, but the character, the skills are lacking, we can come off as a smoozer or a salesman. And if it's just the skills, all it is about the work. Deliver, excellence. But we're not pointed at good things. We're not holding to standards, and we're not connected with and caring about the people as we go. We can really burn people out and turn them off. It's these three essential attributes of leadership: character, relationship, and skills, that are needed to redefine your servant leadership and to be able to amplify your integrity, your influence, and your impact. And let's dive into those three so we can look at that. Character. Character isn't just the good, high moral standards, but it is also, as Dr. Cloud and Dr. Townsend outline, it's the ability to meet the demands of reality. So what might good character in a leader look like? Well, let me tell you about Ryan. Ryan's a CEO that we work with, and Ryan was faced with a performance challenge. There was somebody that wasn't living up to the standards that they had. They weren't delivering on the expectations, and they were putting the organization in a place where it was actually starting to get to a safety concern in the area that they led. And still, Ryan found himself in a place where it was post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas, and they'd been working through this thing for 6 months, and he said, no, I can't let this person go right before Christmas. You just don't do that to people. He was operating on the principle, one of his core character components, of treating people like you wanted to be treated. And so what Ryan decided to do was to build a plan to let this person know that they should start looking, but to employ this person and keep them on with the organization through Christmas. Now, instead of a couple of $1,000 and 2 weeks and a little bit of severance. This actually cost Ryan and their organization about half of the person's salary, the way that their benefits rolled over once January came. And he still did it. His ability to communicate, to stay with his principle, to follow through on the good and right thing that he said. Really, his ability to meet the demands of reality, of treating people well and making sure he was honoring the needs of the organization and the performance expectations they had, demonstrated his character as he kept that person through the holidays, did exactly what he would hope someone would do to him, and then also let them go so that they could go find other work and so that they could bring in someone that could perform as needed in the organization. It's that type of character combined with relationships. Relationships is the second one. Now, we know relationships, right? Mutually beneficial connection. We have friends, we have family, we have relationships. Leaders, I'm talking about relationships that actually pour into you. Here's the thing, especially those of us that are servant leaders. Most of the time, we're pouring out. I'm the one that's giving. I'm the one that's serving. I'm the one that's supposed to be the helper. And we don't actually have relationships that are win-win, that are there for us as well. So, what type of relationships do you need? And what is the type of relationships that grow the attribute that you need as a leader? It is relationships where you can receive. Yeah, where it's a win-win, mutually beneficial, but you have to receive. You have to get your needs met too. And these relationships have a couple of components. Win-win, like we said, but they're full of being present, empathy, attunement, making sure that you're really connected. They also have truth, making sure that we know what's really going on so that we can live into that character of meeting the demands of reality. They have encouragement because oftentimes we need our tank filled as leaders. And they're focused on action. Healthy relationships grow, and healthy relationships help healthy people grow as well. And as leaders, we not only need the relationships where we're helping, where we're serving, where we're giving, but we need relationships outside of work where people are doing that and pouring into us as well. Now, with a strong foundation of character, the ability to meet the demands of reality, with relationships that are mutually beneficial, where we're getting what we need to be fueled up to lead, and we throw skills on top of that, we are able to deliver tremendous results. Skills like serving, skills like setting and casting a vision, skills like emotional intelligence, where we are self-aware, others-aware, and have the ability to engage, regulate in the moment. The ability to communicate through listening, understanding, and sharing what's needed to be done so that we can deliver. Skills of developing people and making good, wise decisions. When all three of those things are brought together, it creates a foundation, a really strong foundation that actually starts to reinforce each other. Unlike the flat tire where we get pulled, when each of these things are at play and they realign and continue to get aligned, think about a Venn diagram of character, relationship, skills, and these things coming in over where it is whole, where you get to operate as a whole leader, really free to lead as you are with people that will support you, bringing all the talents that you have. Then you are able to operate in integrity, doing the things that you care about in the challenging circumstances that you face, giving what other people need in relationship, but also receiving what you have and bringing all the gifts and talents and skills that you have to be able to deliver on what you say you're going to do, on what the mission and the business need to happen so that it can be successful and so that you can serve the people that the business serves. Now, Matthew, we've been taking questions about Redefine Your Servant Leadership, the new book. What do we have today?
Yeah. Would you be able to tell us about a time when you experienced the importance of one of these attributes in, say, a flat tire situation of your own?
Well, we don't have time for all of them, but I could go through a bunch of flat tire situations for myself. But let's go into just this one about relationships because it really is key, especially right now as leaders. And Deloitte did a survey that Leaders are burning out. Like, they're ready to go. 70% of executives and leaders are ready to leave. They're feeling isolated, anxious, disconnected. So let me tell you about a relational deficit that I had and figuring out the power of having mutually beneficial relationships where we serve each other, meaning I also receive. It was 2017, and in Houston, we experienced Hurricane Harvey. And what that means is that in 3 days, over 50 inches of water came down. Hundreds of thousands of houses and buildings were flooded. Mine was too. It was a painful time. It was a crisis time. We were trying to respond as an organization to meet the needs of people locally, while so many of us were also trying to take care of our own crisis, like a flooded house. And I had a wonderful friend and mentor give me a call and say, John, we're not flooded. We got a big old house, and we think that we're supposed to invite some people to come and live with us. And we would like to extend that offer to you and Megan. And no joke, standing in water in my flooded home, because I was so focused on serving, helping, and giving, and not getting what I needed, not building relationships that were mutually beneficial, but one where I was just always focused on pouring out. I said, thanks, we're good. Like, I turned him down. And then 3 days later, in tears, realizing I was not good, and that I had needs that needed to be met so that I could care for my family, so that we could have a firm foundation, so that we could continue to go. I called him back and I said, okay, is that offer still there? And he said, absolutely. And the next day we moved in. And in 4 months, I learned inside of that house with 6 adults, 3 kids, and 2 dogs, what it means to have healthy, productive relationships where it's win-win. Oh man, we tried so hard to help the other person be well, succeed. Where we were present and paying attention to the emotional stuff that was going on, what we were thinking, what we were feeling, what we really needed. Where there was a lot of truth about what was really going on in reality and fixing houses, but also just how it needed to be in their house so that all of us could live together. There was encouragement every single day. And there was so much action because we were just trying to outdo one another with how service-oriented we were to each other. And that right there showed me what is possible in relationships, in a workplace, in a family, in a community, when we go all in on being mutually beneficial, on giving and receiving. So that little microcosmic story showed me, hey man, you have a flat tire in this area. And this, healthy, productive relationships, are the path to get it inflated so that you can drive straight and do well in life and in leadership. I hope you all check out the book. The story is expanded in there. You're going to learn more, and you can learn from all of the flat tire mistakes that I have when you pick up Redefine Your Servant Leadership in January. And if you want that excerpt today, go to redefineyourservantleadership.com and get an excerpt of the book. And until next week, my friends, be well, lead on, and God bless.